Majority of South Sudanese today have moved away from that politics of them wanting to be based on tribal or ethnic lines. At least a section of them wants, they just want a better South Sudan, where a leader can have the country at heart. And they don't care who that leader is. They don't care if he comes from the Dinka tribe. They don't care if the leader comes from the Nuer tribe or the Equatorial tribe. Hello everyone, welcome to the Concern Podcast, where we unpack political, socio-economic and cultural stories shaping our world. I'm Emmanuel Taban, and on this video, I want us to look at how President Salva Kiir could easily exploit or could easily use the ongoing trial of Dr. Machar and his fellow SPLM IO members to gain popularity, to remain relevant, and to get support from South Sudanese, either for 2026 should there be elections or even beyond. Now, before we proceed with this video, if this is your first time watching on our channel, please don't hesitate to subscribe, hit the subscription button, and also hit the notification button so you can get notified of every single new video that we upload on this platform. It's a very good site where we update you on ongoing political issues that goes back home in South Sudan, across East Africa, and the entire African continent. Now, back on our video, as I said, on this video, I want us to look specifically on how President Salva Kiir could easily exploit the ongoing trial of Machar and his colleagues to gain political relevancy or political support. Now, one thing you should know is that in every society, politicians thrive on exploitation of political moments such as this to gain support, to gain sympathy, and to remain relevant to their electorates, but also to the entire population of the country. There are so many people in South Sudan, there are so many people in the neighboring countries of South Sudan and across the world who believes that the ongoing trial of Vice President Machar is nothing but a political witch hunt, or a move by the president simply to try to eliminate Machar from the political affairs of the country. Not eliminating him by killing, but making him not exist or making him not to contribute to the political affairs of the country. That could mean, one, by jailing him or detaining him should he be found guilty of the charges that were made against him, and just to send him away or to exile him from the politics of the country. So many people claim that President Kiir is scared of Machar and that he cannot stand Machar, he cannot win Machar in a fair and free election, but also he is scared of Machar that should Machar continue to be the vice president of the Republic of South Sudan, as history has told us, at any time he could turn against President Kiir, just like what he did, or just like what he did in 1991, or just like what he did in 2013 and in 2016 subsequently. And for that reason, so many people made the conclusion that President Kiir is scared of Machar on these two bases, and that the ongoing trial is politically motivated. It's a very clear move for President Kiir to eliminate him from the politics of the country. I don't want to say I agree with these people. I completely don't agree with them, but I understand them. I understand their feeling. I know what informed their feeling. I'm not saying that is exactly what President Kiir is doing. I'm not saying he's scared of Machar. I'm not saying the current trial of Machar is a political witch hunt. I'm not saying he's politically motivated, but the people who have that feeling, I understand them. Now, how can President Salva Kiir Mayardin exploit the ongoing trial of Vice President Riek Machar to gain political support or to remain relevant to the eyes of South Sudanese? One thing you must know is that at least a majority of section of South Sudanese today want a leader who has a value for human life, wants a leader who looks at the country, who looks at South Sudanese and have the country at heart. Majority of South Sudanese today have moved away from that politics of them wanting to be based on tribal or ethnic lines. At least a section of them wants, they just want a better South Sudan, where a leader can have the country at heart. And they don't care who that leader is. They don't care if he comes from the Dinka tribe. They don't care if the leader comes from the Nuer tribe or the Equatorial tribe. If they are ready to have the country at heart, if they are ready to deliver the demands of South Sudanese, if they are willing to bring peace and bring all those people who have moved out of South Sudan to seek refuge back home and have a hope that one day their children are going to enjoy the land that they have, South Sudanese are willing to have such a person as their president. And therefore, one way Kiir could easily use this trial to gain political popularity or to remain relevant is by doing this. Listen to me carefully. There are other people also who believe that Kiir has an influence in the judiciary and that the verdict that is going to be issued by the judiciary is predetermined. And it's not going to be in favor of Machar. There are so many people who have that belief in their mind. But if at all Kiir would want to influence the judiciary to release a verdict that is maybe a verdict that confirms that Machar indeed contributed in all the charges that that were made against him, if there is any will by President Kiir to influence the judiciary, I would tell him that let that influence be one that makes the judiciary release a verdict in Machar's favor. A verdict that dictates that Machar is innocent. I believe in rule of law. I didn't want Kiir to have an influence in the judiciary. Our judiciary should be an independent institution. There shouldn't be an influence from anyone on the judiciary. But if at all Kiir wants to have an influence, there are so many African leaders today who have influence over all the organs and institutions of government. And if Kiir wants to have an influence in this one, let it be the one that actually brings out the verdict in favor of Machar. And that will massively work in his favor. That will massively make him gain political popularity and remain relevant to the eyes of South Sudanese for 2026 should there be election and even beyond. Now, I want to tell you how a verdict in favor of Machar, a verdict that says Machar is innocent, will make President Kiir popular, will make him gain support, and will make him relevant in the eyes of South Sudanese. I'm not saying he is not relevant today. He is. But a verdict in favor of Machar will make him more relevant, make him gain more support, and make people think that Kiir has come to a reset and now wants to have the country at heart and now wants the law to prevail in the country. This is what a verdict in favor of Machar will work best for Kiir. Imagine a situation where after this trial, the judiciary comes, or the panel of judges instituted by the judiciary to preside over this case on the final day comes out and release a verdict that all the claims that were made against Machar are baseless. All the claims are not true. Imagine that verdict being made by the judiciary. And the judiciary says that since these charges are all false and baseless, they are giving a ruling for the reinstatement of Machar as the first vice president, Pok Kang Chol as the Minister of Petroleum, and all the other accused to be given back their positions. Machar should get back to the position of vice president and Pok Kang to the position of the Minister of Petroleum. Imagine that the judiciary released that verdict. And Kiir comes out and upholds that verdict. He makes a degree through a National Broadcasting Corporation, SSBC. Imagine that verdict is passed and he comes out that evening and just address the nation and says, my fellow South Sudanese, it has been our interest, it has been our goal that this country gets back to rule of law. And the rule of law dictates that no matter the position you hold, if you are a person of a high profile, you deserve to face the law should there be claims that you have committed or you have broken the law. And this is the reason why we met the charges against Machar. We thought that the charges that Machar were charged with, according to our investigation, we, as the government of South Sudan, thought that these charges were true. And we subjected Machar for a fair trial that the judiciary has today released a result saying that all the charges that were actually made against Machar are baseless and they're false. And since I am the leader of this country who wants to uphold the rule of law and who wants to see this country go ahead, I concede to the decision made by the judiciary that Machar's charges or the charges that we made against him were baseless. And for that reason, since it is his right established in the Revitalized Peace Agreement and it is his right in our transitional national constitution, I would therefore like to confirm to the nation that because of this verdict and because as a leader who wants to uphold the rule of law, we therefore reinstate Machar to his position as the first vice president of the Republic of South Sudan, Pok Kang Chol, as the Minister of Petroleum. And we would want to see this country move ahead. And this case of Machar should not only be one that ends, but this should be a clear sign to South Sudanese that if anyone breaks the law, no matter what position you hold, you are subject to face the law. And this is just a start of a moment, of 100 moments that will go ahead of us, that will be ahead of us. Imagine Kiir come out with that address and tell South Sudanese that he is reinstating Machar. Imagine the kind of support that he will get from South Sudanese. Imagine the kind of sympathy that people will have for his government. Imagine that relevance. People will have a reset in their mind. People will think, oh, come on. It looks like Kiir is becoming relevant. It looks like he's having the political will to lead this country. It looks like he's willing to let the rule of law prevail in this country. Imagine that moment. South Sudanese will come out boldly and like him. That is the moment. This is a way where Kiir needs to exploit this trial process. He doesn't need to use it by terminating Machar from the politics of the country, but even by bringing Machar back, that is a way of gaining popularity. There are more smarter ways of eliminating someone from the politics of the country than to do it in a more physical and more brutal manner. He can do it in a most genius way. And I feel this is one way he should do it. So that is how I feel Kiir can easily use the trial to gain political popularity. Thank you so much. I remain Emmanuel Taban, and this is the Concern Podcast. Until next time, I remain Emmanuel, and again, this is the Concern Podcast. Thank you for watching, and hit on the notification button again, comment, share, like, and until next time,